The information given on this program is not, nor is it intended to be, financial advice. You should consult a financial advisor for individual advice regarding your own situation.
Welcome back to Money Confidential. My name is Holmes Osborne. Today is Wednesday, February 4th. We're shooting live in Santa Monica and Los Angeles. Our guest is Joe Deering. Joe is an attorney who does estate planning and a number of other types of legal issues that he deals with. And this is a call-in show. We're going to be taking calls at 888-401-5464 if you have questions about the real estate market, questions about your credit card debt, questions about your mutual funds, if you've inherited money, if you know someone who's lost a lot of money, if any advice that you can give them, we would be willing to crack any types of questions you guys have. Luckily, this has been kind of a slow week in the markets, relatively speaking. The markets are down about 8 or 9% for the year. It's about what it was last week. The markets are down a little over 100 points today. A lot of news about Barack Obama, our new president, what he's trying to do. And he's got a new Treasury Secretary, Secretary Gaither, and all types of news about these guys. They've come out with a big package for the economy, and there's a lot of provisions in there that are kind of controversial. One of them is something about Buy America. I haven't read the bill yet, but that kind of worries me about protectionism. It's kind of what we do in bad times. We try to force people to buy America only. In a perfect world, in a free market, whoever sells the best goods, money flows to that area. So if the Swiss make the best cheese, you buy Swiss cheese. If the British make the best beer, you buy British beer. If the Chinese make the best widgets, you buy Chinese widgets. But in a protectionism, you can only buy your own items, and therefore people stop doing trade with one another, and therefore the goods that we get aren't as good because decreased competition gives these manufacturers less incentive to make their products better. Also, something I saw today is President Obama is going to put a cap on CEO pay for the banks that participate in the TARP plan. That too have not read about, have not studied closely, but there's pluses and minuses to that. But in the next few weeks, we'll talk about that. 888-401-5464. We've got Joe Deering. Joe, tell us a little bit about what's going on in estate planning right now. 2009 is a new year. We have a new president, a new Congress. What's going on with estate taxes right now?
Well, I think we have a time that's going to be a change because we're in a hard times, estate planning in hard times. And this year we have an exemption that's gone up to $3.5 million for federal estate taxes, and that's good. Next year, the plan is to do away with federal estate taxes and to a certain extent do away with the step up with capital gains. So what will happen is that, well, who knows what will happen because everything is really up in the air in relationship to that. After that, we have a sunset provision as the law stands right now, which means that we go back to $1 million exemption. So
is that next year?
That would be 2 years from now.
2011?
Yes, that's right. But we don't know, but as I say, it's pretty clear with Obama, we don't know what's going to happen. I certainly think that, like we talk, when it's pretty easy to talk about CEOs and cutting compensation for CEOs and so forth, but when we're talking about federal estate taxations, that is a lot more complicated. There's a lot of different issues that are going to be involved, and I'm sure that the Congress is going to be very interested in working.
So if a husband and wife passed away right now, their heirs, presumably their children, if the husband and wife had an estate of less than $7 million, the children wouldn't pay any estate taxes on that?
Well, that depends. It depends if they had a AB trust. If you have an AB trust, what we call a credit shelter trust, then that's right. You have $7 million of exemption before they have to start paying tax. They have to paying tax for federal estate taxes for at 45%. So that's quite a hit, 45 cents on a dollar, but they don't have to do that for 7 years. The interesting part about that is, though, that if they don't have if they don't have an AB trust, or they don't have a trust that will handle this, then chances are they only have $3.5 million exemption, and then they would have to pay tax. So it is important to have, in the right type of estate, a credit shelter trust.
What happens if the husband and wife pass away, when they pass away in different years? Like, let's say the husband passed away 2 years ago in 2007, and the wife passes away this year in 2009. What are the tax consequences, assuming that they have an AB trust like you spoke of?
Well, in that type of situation, what happens is that, as the law stands right now, the surviving spouse would get a step-up in basis for step-up in basis for capital gains tax, and then after that, when the second person dies, then the children would get the amount of money that was in the credit shelter trust plus a 3.5 for the surviving spouse. Mm-hmm. Now that could be more than the $7 million, because conceivably in the credit shelter trust, the asset that is in the credit shelter trust could appreciate as well. For example, if you were to put an apartment in that separate B trust, the credit shelter trust, the value of that, of course not today, but the value of that traditionally has gone up. And all of that value remains federal estate tax free because it's outside of the estate.
So even if it skyrockets, so let's say that they put one stock in there, and that stock does extraordinarily well. It goes up tenfold in a short amount of time. Is that all covered, no matter how much it is, from?
Yes.
Okay.
That's not the problem. The problem in that situation is that when that happens is you might have a capital gains issue. For example, when you have the property put into the credit shelter trust, at that point that it's put in there, that's the new basis for that trust. And that's the basis for capital gains purposes that is going to be there when the second spouse dies. So the kids are going to get that property at the basis that it was put into the trust. So therefore, if they sell the property, you see, then what happens is that there would be a capital gain on that part of the property, where maybe there wouldn't be any capital gain where the surviving spouse, mom, that lived longer, there wouldn't be any capital gain on her portion of that.
So you have to
property.
get it evaluated. So if it's stock, it's easy, but if it's an apartment, you have to have an appraisal person come out and take a look at it. Is that right?
Oh, that's correct. And not only that, because of the fact that things have changed in relationship to the federal estate exemption, it's gone up from $1 million now, actually $600,000 when many trusts were done to now. There has to be an evaluation made between the capital gains consequences of the estate and the credit shelter consequences. So the estate, there may be little or no estate tax, but there could be capital gains. And in fact, in some situations, it's possible that because of the height of the exemption, all of the federal estate tax will be gone, but still, by putting it into the credit shelter trust, we might impose a new capital gains tax. So this is getting more and more complicated, and I'm sure that the Congress is going to even make it more so when they revise these taxes. So it is important to have someone review your taxes, do a tax update, so to speak, as this stuff approaches. And also, when you do that, you would want to make sure and evaluate your assets and the current value of those assets, because things, as we know, have changed quite a bit in the last 6 months even. So that's very important.
If you folks have questions about trusts or wills or estate planning issues, give us a call at 888-401-5464. And Joe and I'll try to take a crack at whatever questions you have for us. If you have questions about mutual funds and the law and what's going on with the government in regards to your basic finances, give us a call.